Have you ever wondered what truly happens once you cross the age of 80? This milestone is unlike any other, and no matter how much you prepare, certain changes arrive that every person experiences. But these shifts are not simply declines to fear. They are natural transitions that can open the door to a richer, more meaningful stage of life. When you turn 80, 5 major changes occur whether you like it or not. Some may cause concern, others may surprise you, and one in particular has the power to feel profoundly liberating. By knowing what to expect, you can welcome these changes instead of resisting them, making the years ahead not only easier, but more fulfilling. Aging is not just about losing abilities. It's about gaining new perspectives that only time can provide. These 5 signs act like a map, guiding you through your 80s with confidence. You'll discover how your energy shifts, how your social circle reshapes, how your relationship with time deepens, how your memory and thinking adapt, and finally, how an unexpected freedom emerges. This is not a story of decline, but of transformation. Life in your 80s is about wisdom, authenticity, and living as your truest self. If you've ever feared growing older, the final change we cover may transform your perspective. Now, let's get started. Number 1. Physical energy and sleep patterns transform completely. The first noticeable shift at 80 is in the rhythm of your energy and sleep. It's not simply about feeling tired more often. It's about your body operating on a new schedule that demands respect rather than resistance. Many people at this stage still expect to function as they did in their 60s or 70s. And when that doesn't happen, they worry. The truth is, nothing is wrong. Your body has simply entered a different phase of efficiency. Your circadian rhythm, the body's natural internal clock, begins to tilt earlier. Bedtime feels more natural around 8 or 9 at night, and mornings often begin as early as 5 or 6. Energy peaks are strongest in the morning and early afternoon, but around 2 o'clock, a deeper dip arrives, stronger than what you knew before. This isn't a sign of weakness. It's simply the body asking for a pause. At night, sleep becomes lighter, with less time spent in deep sleep stages. That means you might wake more often, but it doesn't always mean your sleep is poor. It's simply different. And when you honor it, it works in your favor. Take the example of Lucille, an 82-year-old retired teacher. For years, she grew anxious because she couldn't stay awake past 9 and would wake before dawn, certain it was a problem. But once she learned this was the new normal for her age, she changed her daily structure. She began scheduling her important tasks, like reading, writing letters, and gentle exercise, in the morning. Early afternoons became her time for visiting with friends. She even built in a brief 20-minute rest around her 2 o'clock energy dip. Far from making her weaker, this new rhythm gave her more energy, more focus, and more contentment than she'd had in years. The lesson is clear. At 80, your body isn't shutting down, it's fine-tuning. To work with this change rather than against it, start with 3 practical steps. First, pay close attention to when your energy feels highest and lowest. A week of tracking is enough to notice patterns. Second, match your most important activities to those energy peaks. Save lighter tasks for the times when you naturally feel slower. Third, create a gentle but consistent sleep routine that supports your earlier bedtime. Dimming the lights, reading instead of watching television, and giving your mind quiet time before bed all help. The greatest shift here is not physical, but mental. Once you accept that your rhythms are changing, you stop battling against your body and begin to work with it. That cooperation creates days that feel smoother, more productive, and less stressful. You may even find that far from losing energy, you gain more vitality and purpose once you learn to ride the wave of your body's new natural cycle. Number 2, your social circle naturally evolves in unexpected ways. The second inevitable shift at 80 is in your relationships. Many people assume this age is about losing friends or feeling left out. But the deeper truth is that your social world refines itself. It doesn't vanish. It transforms into something more focused, more authentic, and often more rewarding than before. By the time you reach 80, superficial connections tend to fall away. You simply no longer have the patience or the energy to maintain relationships that don't nourish you. Instead, you find yourself gravitating toward people who truly understand you. In this stage of life, large gatherings may feel less appealing, replaced by the warmth of smaller, more intimate conversations. A friend you once saw every week might fade from your life, while someone who was previously just an acquaintance may rise to become one of your most trusted companions. This isn't social decline, it's social optimization. Your emotional energy becomes precious, and your mind knows it. That's why you naturally invest more in the connections that support, uplift, and strengthen you. Eugene's story shows this beautifully. At 81, he grew discouraged when his longtime poker group dissolved. Members moved away, some faced health struggles. The dynamic that once gave him comfort was gone. At first, he felt as if his social identity had disappeared. But when he started volunteering at the library's literacy program, everything changed. He found himself surrounded by peers in their 70s and 80s who shared his values and goals. Their conversations were rich, purposeful, and full of encouragement. Eugene realized that even though he had lost one circle, he had gained another, one that fit his present life far better. He also discovered something unexpected. As his social focus narrowed, he gave more attention to his family. His adult children noticed the difference and responded with more connection, more gratitude, and more honesty. Eugene's life didn't shrink, it deepened. If you are entering this stage, there are 4 keys to embracing it. First, allow some friendships to fade without guilt. Not every relationship is meant to last forever. Second, stay open to new connections with people who share your current interests, not just your history. Third, give more energy to those relationships that leave you feeling understood and uplifted. Fourth, stop trying to keep the same pace you had in your 60s or 70s. At 80, quality is far more powerful than quantity. What results is a social life that is less about keeping up appearances and more about true companionship. Many people at 80 describe their friendships as more supportive, more honest, and more satisfying than ever before. You are not losing your social world. You are upgrading it into one that suits you better. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating content that informs and inspires you. Now let's move forward. Number 3, your relationship with time and priorities undergoes a revolutionary shift. The third great change that comes at 80 is not about your body or your social circle, but about your entire perception of time. This is one of the most profound transformations of aging, and it quietly reshapes everything about how you live. Psychologists call it a shift in time perspective. When you're younger, time feels endless, and you often spend it trying to meet expectations, maintain appearances, or pursue goals that others set for you. At 80, time feels both shorter and more precious, which forces a beautiful clarity. You begin to see what truly matters and what doesn't. Daily stamina may feel lower, and the days may seem to pass more quickly, but at the same time, you stop wasting hours on things that hold little meaning. You care far less about what others think, and much more about what brings you genuine fulfillment. This change is not about running out of time, it's about finally understanding what time is actually for. Ruby's story illustrates this truth. At 83, she had been involved in her church for over 40 years. She served on committees, organized events, and fulfilled every expectation of being dependable. But deep inside, she was exhausted. Those obligations felt more like duty than joy. One day, she made a bold choice. Ruby stepped away from her roles. Even though her family and community were surprised, she began spending her mornings in her garden, hands in the soil, tending flowers and vegetables. She also volunteered one day a week at the community garden, teaching younger members the skills she had nurtured over a lifetime. Her family worried at first, thinking she was isolating herself, but in truth, Ruby had never been more alive. She had chosen time spent on passion over time spent on obligation. This is what happens at 80. The fear of missing out dissolves, replaced by the joy of making deliberate choices. You say no more often, not out of limitation, but out of wisdom. And you say yes to the things that feed your soul. The shift is liberating because it removes the noise and allows you to focus on meaning. The practical impact of this is remarkable. Many people at 80 describe feeling lighter, freer, and more intentional with their days. They use time more wisely, not by cramming in more activity, but by ensuring that whatever they do truly matters to them. Researchers call this crystallized wisdom, the ability to see through distractions and recognize the essence of any situation. To embrace this fully, consider a few strategies. First, take stock of your week and identify which activities energize you versus which ones drain you. Second, practice saying no without guilt to obligations that no longer serve you. Third, lean into experiences and conversations you've been postponing because you finally understand the time for them is now. Fourth, spend more of your hours on pursuits that bring joy and peace, even if others might not view them as productive. This transformation often brings a new kind of fulfillment. Instead of rushing to keep up with others, you begin to walk at your own pace, on your own path, with your own values guiding you. That freedom of time and clarity of purpose makes life at 80 more authentic than ever before. Number 4. Memory and mental processing undergo fascinating and adaptive changes. The fourth change that arrives at 80 is one many people fear, yet it's not what most expect. Your brain does change, yes, but not in the simple way of decline that is often assumed. Instead, your mind reorganizes itself in ways that trade speed for depth, surface recall for wisdom, and quick answers for meaningful insights. Short-term memory does become less reliable. You may find yourself entering a room and forgetting why, or pausing longer to remember a new name. Processing brand new information can feel slower, but at the same time, something else begins to grow stronger. Your ability to connect past experiences into patterns, to see meaning in situations, and to draw on a lifetime of knowledge to make wise decisions. Carlton, an 84-year-old retired engineer, felt this shift keenly. He was once sharp with technical details, able to memorize specifications in an instant. In his 80s, that ability faded, but when his adult son came to him with a complicated business challenge, Carlton could see the underlying pattern almost immediately. Where younger minds struggled with the data, his mind, slower on the surface, was faster at seeing the big picture. His decades of experience, woven into deep neural pathways, gave him an insight that raw processing speed could not match. This is what your brain does at 80. It becomes a wisdom engine. Instead of racing to hold every new detail, it specializes in recognizing meaning and filtering what is truly important. This explains why older adults often excel at decisions involving judgment, perspective, or human behavior, even if they can't recall a new fact as quickly as they once could. There are practical ways to work with this. Many elders find it helpful to keep small notebooks, calendars, or reminders for day-to-day details, freeing their mental energy for deeper thinking. Activities that tap into pattern recognition, like strategy games, mentoring, or problem-solving discussions, stimulate the strengths that the brain now favors. Learning also continues to matter, but it works best when connected to what you already know. A completely foreign skill might feel frustrating, but expanding on existing knowledge keeps the mind engaged and sharp. The most important shift is in perspective. At 80, it's not that your mind has weakened, it has simply specialized differently. You're less of a rapid recorder and more of a seasoned interpreter. You might misplace your glasses, but you can often read people's intentions better than anyone else in the room. You may forget the name of a new neighbor, but you can quickly sense whether they're trustworthy or kind. This cognitive adaptation is one of the hidden gifts of aging. You may lose some surface speed, but you gain profound insight. That wisdom, honed over decades, becomes the very strength you bring into your 80s. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Number 5. You experience an unexpected and profound sense of freedom and authenticity. The fifth change that comes with turning 80 is perhaps the most surprising of all. It's not a decline or a loss, it's a gain. And for many, it becomes the most rewarding shift of their later years. You begin to experience a deep sense of freedom and authenticity, the ability to live as your truest self without the weight of all the expectations that shaped your earlier life. By this age, many of the pressures that once dictated your choices have faded. You're no longer climbing career ladders, raising children, or striving to meet society's definitions of success. Responsibilities that once kept you tethered begin to ease, and what's left is a rare kind of space, the chance to finally live according to your own values, your own rhythms, and your own joy. Constance's story is a perfect illustration. She was 82 when she decided she was finished being who everyone else thought she should be. For decades, she had lived as the proper minister's wife, reserved, cautious, and always placing duty above desire. But inside, she had a love of color, art, and bold expression. At 82, she gave herself permission to bring that side forward. She began painting large, vibrant canvases, dressing in bright clothes, and speaking her mind openly. Far from alienating her loved ones, this newfound authenticity made her more alive, engaging, and even beloved. Her grandchildren adored this freer version of her, and her friends found her honesty refreshing. This is the essence of the transformation. At 80, you stop living for appearances and start living for truth. You release obligations that don't matter and discover joy in being fully yourself. You may surprise others with the choices you make, but often those choices inspire rather than shock. Relationships become more real because there's no longer pretense. You waste less energy trying to fit a mold and use that energy instead to nurture genuine connections and pursuits. This authenticity also changes how you approach daily life. You might move to a place you've always dreamed of, start a hobby others thought impractical, or simply organize your days around what feels meaningful rather than what looks sensible. And this doesn't mean you become reckless. Rather, it means you have the wisdom to know what matters and the courage to honor it. Many people say they feel more like themselves at 80 than they did at any other age. With decades of roles and expectations behind you, you are finally free to choose which ones, if any, you still want to carry. This sense of freedom is not only liberating, it's deeply fulfilling. It allows you to step into authenticity with confidence, and that authenticity becomes a gift not just to yourself, but to everyone around you. Poonen, final thoughts. Turning 80 is often seen as a moment of decline, but the truth is far richer than that. These 5 changes, shifts in energy, the evolution of your social world, the transformation of your relationship with time, the reorganization of memory and thinking, and the deepening of authenticity are not losses, but adaptations. Each one opens the door to a different kind of strength, a wisdom and clarity that younger decades could never provide. When your body changes its rhythm, it teaches you efficiency and intentionality. When your friendships reshape themselves, they guide you toward deeper and more meaningful connections. When your view of time shifts, you learn to choose consciously and live with purpose. When your thinking style adapts, you discover insight and wisdom in place of speed. And when authenticity takes root, you finally become the truest version of yourself. This stage of life is not about fighting what you cannot control, but about working with what has emerged. Those who embrace these changes often report greater satisfaction, more meaningful days, and a sense of freedom they never expected to find in their later years. The truth is, your 80-year-old self isn't a diminished version of your past. It's a refined version, specialized for depth, clarity, and authenticity. The most important thing to remember is this: aging is not about losing who you are. It's about becoming more of who you've always been. By recognizing these natural transitions, you can approach 80 not with fear, but with anticipation for the gifts it brings. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.